Looking back, man, Tebow was a great competitor. I just, as a passer, you know, give me G Mac and AJ McCarron.
AJ McCarron.
Welcome, guys, to the Famisphere Podcast. I'm your host, Keith. I'm joined by Coach King, and I'm joined today by Alabama super fan, Funnymaine. Johnson's a comedian. Jesse and I have watched your stuff for a long time. Really enjoy just your take on college football. But my first question for you: why Bama, and how long have you been a fan?
Thank you guys, first of all, for having me. But this is a lifetime commitment. My mom is from Tuscaloosa. So, the whole family is just roll tide. I've literally never known anything else. So, yeah, it's a from birth thing.
Okay. So that was gonna be a question I was gonna ask too. Is we've seen the documentary. I think it was called Roll Tide War Eagle. Correct? Is that the one? The one
Right.
about?
That's the one.
Yeah. In that documentary, they talk about, there's more than two teams in Alabama, but there's really not. You're born either a Bama fan or a fan of, I won't say it for out of respect, the other team. But,
Yeah.
growing up in Tuscaloosa, you had no option. You had no choice.
Nah. And it was, my mom and her side of the family were there in Tuscaloosa. So we spent all Christmases and holidays and summers in Tuscaloosa. So it's always been like a second home. I've been kind of all over Alabama. I was born in Opelika, which is next door to the school that you won't mention. But like I said, my mom's Tuscaloosa influence was heavy. And then I grew up in Birmingham. So been kind of all over there.
Well, since you mentioned it, and we'll come back to Bama here in just a minute, but tell us a little bit about, your background other than comedy and what you do for that school in Memphis and how that came about.
Well, my background, I'm a country boy, man. Like I said, Opelika, Alabama roots, and Tuscaloosa, some Mississippi in there. I grew up very outdoorsy, hands on, building stuff, big trucks. I'm all about that life. But moving to Birmingham, I adapted a lot of that, a lot of the music, a lot of the lingo. So it's just a good combination. I would say I'm well well rounded when it comes to Southern culture. So but going to Stillman College in Tuscaloosa to get a dual degree in English and communications has led me through radio jobs. Of course, I've adapted with every social media platform that's ever been invented. But all of that also led me to right now, currently heading the communications department for Memphis Shelby County Schools, which is the largest school district in Tennessee. And I believe we're top 25 in the country. It's a pretty large district.
Well, yeah, it's a very large district.
Yeah.
What is a day to day? It says year two, right? What exactly is a day to
Yes.
day like that in that role?
Oh man, where you want to start? Answering a lot of media requests every good thing and bad thing, the incident reports, and also highlighting the great things that happen in our school. It all comes to my desk. So man, we've got students that are, um, you know, just ranking at the top of their class in so many ways. We got schools that are breaking records with scholarship dollars. We've got dozens of kids who are scoring perfect on the ACT. We've got a Grammy Award winning professor in one of our schools. We've got the National Principal of the Year in our schools. So there's just so many great things and great people in Memphis Shelby County Schools, man. And I just, I love waking up every day serving the people of Memphis. It's exciting.
That's really
That's
cool.
awesome. That
You
is
know,
awesome.
working in a role like that, like you said, I can hear the joy, in
Yeah,
you talking about it. You'll never work a day in your life in a job like that where you
right.
enjoy waking up and going to work.
Yeah.
Now Keith and I, when we're from Tennessee, we're familiar with Shelby County, but I'm not familiar with the school district. How many schools are in that district?
Close to 200 if you include charters and everything. We're a little bit over 20 high schools, and I can't count the the middle and elementary
Wow.
schools. They are numerous. But we got a great superintendent right now, Dr. Richmond, who's regionalized the entire district. So you got the big superintendent, you got your regional superintendent, with a district that big, you have to have that type of format to just be able to reach everybody and service everybody. So we don't believe in a good school or a bad school. You can go any school in our district and you can get the same quality education the way we've set it up with STEM programs with CCTE. And I understand that on the outside, Memphis and their students get a bad rep, but I'm telling you, man, being inside of it, these are some of the most creative kids. We know with how Memphis has moved the culture for decades, from Elvis to 3 6 Mafia to, to name somebody, to Isaac Hayes. The youth of Memphis, to me, they just really move the culture internationally, and to be around those students and their parents is just an amazing thing to see them do their thing.
And we could go on a tangent here and talk solely on just that. And you mentioned CTE. This will be my 5th year working in CTE. I love the
Nice.
CTE platform. I feel it's so broad and it's so real world connective to kids. I can only imagine what the culture in that city, you have, professional basketball, you have different, music industries, all the
Right.
different aspects that you could take and just kind of bridge together. I can't imagine what those kids have at their fingertips. So that's
I
awesome.
mean,
That's
it's
really cool.
amazing, amazing opportunities.
Right.
That's really cool.
Absolutely.
And you hit the nail on the head. And the students that are taking advantage of it, they really do take advantage of it. But then the ones that don't, you try to give them that motivation, because with just the amount of poverty, unfortunately, that the city is dealing with, that means a lot of students are bringing a lot of things from the house to school, which isn't allowing them to focus. So we try to set it up where they can get that extra attention, to
Hmm.
help them refocus, to give their parents resources. We got community schools all across the district. You may go in a place like Hamilton, and you can get free snacks. You can wash your clothes. I want to say one school maybe offers like cleaning services. So there's just a lot of things that are tailored specifically to the district and to the community that we serve. And our superintendent, he's right. He grew up in Memphis City Schools, so he's a Frazier guy, or the Bay as he likes to call it, but graduated from Tresman High School. So it's just a wonderful thing to witness every day.
That's really cool. I have one more thing, and again, like I said, we could stay on this all day. But I have to ask this: you mentioned 200 schools. How big of a team do you have in your communication department? Because you can't be doing this alone. You can't be a one man show. Okay,
Absolutely not. I have a wonderful team. It's close to 40 individuals. Yeah, and we're spread out over one, two, three different buildings right now. So our parent welcome center and the call center, that team reports to me. Our radio and television stations and our videographers, they all report to me. Our social media team, our bilingual team, and we just got a great team of people that are out, helping us get it done. I would name all my managers and director by name, but I don't want to forget anybody. But they know how I feel about them, and they know I appreciate
that is really cool. And this is a college football podcast, but I would love to talk
them.
about that. Um, I've never been to Memphis. I don't know if Keith has been to Memphis, but I would like to go to Memphis at some point and see a Grizzlies game. But if I ever make the trip to Memphis, I would love to take a tour and just see that day to day what that's like. I think that's a really cool, aspect different from the district. We're in a rural area, so our district is much different. We don't have that, so that's really awesome for the kids in that community, that area, that city, to be getting that exposure.
Yeah, you should definitely come, man. You should definitely come and
Yeah,
see all the great things that Memphis has to offer, man. From the east to the west, North Memphis, South Memphis, Soulsville, Fraser, Raleigh area, out to Germantown, and these different places, man. It's a great place.
that's cool.
It's not perfect, of course, but it's a great place.
Nowhere's perfect. Well, there's one
No.
place perfect, but we ain't there yet. One day we'll be
Yeah,
there. But
yeah.
anyway, sorry, we got off on tangent there. I
No,
apologize. I could talk about that
I'm
all
glad
day.
you were talking about heaven instead of Knoxville, where I thought you might be going. But
Oh no, we're definitely talking about heaven. Let's change gears just a touch, and I'm with Jesse. We're both educators. We love to hear that side of people that work in education, where it's so positive and all that. But I do want to change gears. How did you get into comedy? And where did the idea for the how Bama fans watch the college football videos come from? And did you expect it
so
to take off like it did?
absolutely not. I'll answer your first question. I was a smart kid, but I was also a class clown. So I would have A's on my grades and test high. But my conduct, when they gave out conduct grades back in the day, it was F. Um, I just always enjoyed people laugh. I never woke up thinking I was funny, but I would just have these thoughts and I would say them. If my classmates would laugh, brothers and my cousins would laugh, and it was like, hey, he's just funny. I never felt funny. Then I had some of my guys from Birmingham that got into comedy before I did. Trey Williamson, Roy Wood Jr., and watching them. Now I kind of had a path. I was watching Ricky Smiley, who's on the wall behind me. Roy is back there as well. My influences, but just watching them, and then gave comedy a try over 20 years ago, and I fell in love with it. And the 2016 season, I've just been a Bama fan all my life, man. I had a few followers on my social media. I literally thought I was making a silly little video for my friends. That's as far as I thought about it. Set up my iPhone, recorded myself reacting to these Bama games and SEC games, and it took off, man. Now I got all these news stations calling and different people. I don't know what's going on because I'm still broke at the time, but it was cool. It was like a rocket just taking off, man. And this will be season number 11 coming up of How Bama Fans. So been really blessed.
That's awesome. I'm glad you mentioned the 2016 season. I feel like we've had a few interviews that we've recorded in the last couple of weeks, and I feel like the 2016 season has been mentioned a handful of times,
It
Keith.
has.
Which we're on the the 10-year reunion of that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and my wife and I actually got married. You'll get a kick out of this being a college football fan. My wife and I got married September 24th,
Mm.
Tennessee, Florida, in Knoxville, a block away from the stadium during the middle of the game. It was like second quarter when we got married.
Gosh.
Yeah, my wife's she's not football. She does football savvy. She doesn't know.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know how it is. You got to, you roll with it.
Mm.
But we were coming back from our honeymoon the day that the play happened, not the play, but the play for Tennessee fans, the Hail Mary
The Hail
from
Mary
Josh
against
Dobbs to
Georgia,
Jawan
Josh
Jennings.
Dobbs.
That's
Yeah,
the first
yeah.
clip. That's the first video I ever watched of Funnymaine. That for me, was that? So was that the first season of that
That
2016
was
season?
that was the very first season. I remember that play.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, that was the first one. The very first game that I remember watching to do it was, of course, Bama USC. But that was, I believe, a night game that day, and so I did watch the rest of the SEC games going on. I believe Tennessee and Georgia was in the 2:30 slot. that day. So I absolutely remember it. I'd love to go back to my first video, watch it, and see what the reaction was to that. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I'm sure we're gonna add that. There'll be a clip with this. But I remember that clip vividly. I remember the moment that play happened. We actually, my wife and I, we were coming back, and we had stopped off in Dayton, Tennessee, and we stopped off to eat, and we were watching the game. And we we sat there at that restaurant. They were so generous. They let us sit there the whole game. We're watching the game, and Jacob Eason threw the touchdown pass
Yeah.
with like seconds to go. And I thought, game
It's
over.
over.
And I said, let's get in the car,
Yeah.
let's go. And we're driving up, and it's a very curvy road up Highway 27 through Dayton. And we're driving through there when the radio call of that play happened. I let go of the steering wheel. And my wife is driving from the passenger seat for a good stretch of the highway. And I'm going, oh my gosh, we just won. We just beat Georgia. So that moment, and then your video is what I will most remember about that play.
Yeah, and I want to go back and correct myself because I'm confusing first game and first season. So yeah, it was the first season, but that was kind of in the week 3 or 4 or something like that. So I'll
Yeah,
definitely go back and check out the reaction. But the videos, they just kind of grew over time, started taking on a life of their own, started adding characters and things. But that first one, that first season, I just remember, it just be a quick score, say something, but then, the comments, man, the comments kind of guide you on where to go and start talking
always.
about different things. So yeah, it's been fun.
Comments are always
Absolutely.
the best.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but
So how many you are a Bama super fan. How many Bama games do you try to attend a year, or how many do you attend per year? Do you have a set number? Just kind of see what big games they got?
you know, we had such a large family. So we were all Bama fans outside of my sisters who graduated from that other school. Um, so there were really never any tickets, because you have to buy 5 or 6 tickets. There was no one ticket. So I don't think I attended my first Bama game until I got to college. Um, and, I guess from growing up watching on TV, I just kind of enjoy watching it on TV now at home on the couch. And then also when I go, I love being out amongst the people, but people don't let me watch the game, man. Like they're trying to
Yeah,
talk, they're
yeah,
trying to show me pictures of their cats and their dogs, and
yeah,
so I love people, but they don't understand. Like I'm really a fan. Like I'm trying to lock in. So
yeah.
I just like staying at home where I can scream by myself.
I understand that completely. Um, some of the things that you get at home, being able to
Yeah,
pause and go to the restroom, or whatever, get
that's
a
it.
snack. Like you can't do that
Absolutely.
at the stadium. You got a lot of people to navigate around.
You got one angle at the stadium, no announcers, nothing. Just you and your angle. Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, I enjoy going to the games, but there's also something about being at home,
Mhm.
with your family, and there's barbecues, and Jesse and I've talked about doing a Famosphere shirt and all the different things that we enjoy about it. And I
Yeah.
put on there, I was like a 3:30 kickoff and barbecue, man. That has to be like
Yeah.
tailgating is up there, but
That's the
you know
life.
get. Give me a
Yeah.
3:30 barbecue, 3:30 game and some barbecue, or my
Yeah.
coffee and my game day morning. I mean, that's
Yeah.
um, there's just something about watching it at home.
Yeah, you
So
miss
I can
college
understand that.
game day a lot of times if you go to a game, because you got to get out, especially if it's a noon kickoff, you're not watching game day at all. But even a 3:30 kickoff, you got to get there pretty early, so you're probably missing college game day. And me as a fan, I got to have my college game day on Saturday morning,
That's how you
like
start the day off, man. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. It's
Hmm.
tradition now. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Um, so you've been a Bama fan your whole life.
Yep.
Saban got hired in '06 or '07. Okay, '07. And so when he was first hired from the Dolphins, he obviously had the tenure at LSU and Michigan State and all that as pro career. How was your initial thoughts about Saban in that first, year where everybody, talks about he was, I think, 6-6 that first year, and and then obviously turned it around. But
Was it
Yeah,
FIU? Who? No.
7-6. Don't cheat my man like that. But we knew. I think we're probably the first, maybe only fan base to have a pep rally for a coach at the airport before
hmm
he even did anything. So it's
hmm
like we knew we put our eggs in that basket, man. We were all in, from the jump, and then he set a great tone with the press conference. He kind of let us know, like, even though we were 7-6 and we could see the guys getting better, we were also looking at the type of recruits that he was bringing in. So there was already excitement for the '08 year. So, and that, I would say that '07 year was a little tumultuous, because keep in mind, there were a lot of, older people who we had just fired the coach who was an alum and the son of Don Shula. So
hmm
that was not a small deal. There was still some controversy about, between if Mike Shula or Sylvester Croom should have gotten the job.
hmm
Sylvester Croom at Mississippi State beats Nick Saban that first year in '07. So there was a lot of drama, before the dynasty really kicked off. But by the time we played Clemson, in that '08 opener, you could tell, like, these guys were different.
hmm
I remember that opener.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah,
that came out the vault when you mentioned that, but I remember that opener. Was it Glenn Coffey, that running back that year? Am I
that's the
right on
one.
that?
Yeah,
That
yes,
Gosh,
sir.
that dude was phenomenal.
Yeah,
Of course, that was leading up into Mark Ingram and Julio and that team that he had. But that was a good game, good year. So
yeah.
talk
Glenn
talk.
Coffey was the starter. Mark and Julio were freshmen,
Hmm.
and they just came in. That whole freshman class, man. Rolando McClain, I believe. No, he may have gotten there in '07. It's kind of getting away from, but it was.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I think he was saving first big recruit. So, it was just magical, man. But
yeah.
'08, they just looked different. They ran out of gas against Florida in the SEC championship, but that that Florida team was
Well, that
they
that
got
Florida
their own
team was
Yeah.
documentary
different.
for a reason.
Yeah,
No
they were
doubt.
different.
Yeah, yeah.
No doubt.
Oh, for sure,
Um,
for sure.
and I actually wanted that was my next thing I want to talk about. And tell us about um I guess lead us into 2009, but 2008 you guys go to the SEC championship and lose to Florida. Of course, they go on to win the Natty and everything. Um, but the bowl game that year in '08 did not
Utah.
go well. It did not go well.
Yeah.
What was I mean, obviously it led you into an undefeated season and a championship.
hmm
What was the mindset though at that point? What was the letdown of that like, and what was your outlook?
It was mixed emotion. Again, you didn't want to. We felt like we could beat Utah, and there were clips of our guys kind of trying to bully them, during
Yeah,
the coin toss. So I guess we thought we were just gonna come in there and manhandle them, but totally forgetting they got a great coach and some good players at that time. So, but again, I think at a certain point, and probably after losing to Florida, all the energy shifted to next year. It's like, hey, y'all, we got these great guys coming in. We're going to build. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And we got a lot of core pieces coming back. So we should be good. So I don't want to speak for the full fan base, but I had focus on next year.
yeah. Well, okay, so take us through 2009. Great year, great season.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
want to make a short pit stop because I have to. Um, Again, we're unbiased,
Oh,
but the homer in me has to stop here briefly, okay? And I feel like I need some Sarah McLaughlin playing when I talk about it. But
Sounds like you're going to the
the
block.
Mount Cody, the not one, but two. I feel like a LeBron, not one, not two, but what was your? I wish. What was your mindset in that moment? And had there been a how Bama fans saw college football that night, that video would have been wild.
Yeah.
But what was your mindset going into that game and then after that game?
Going into it, just always nervous when you play one of your rivals. You want everything to go well. Tennessee was playing some great defense that game. It was a low scoring game. You had Lane Kiffin on the other side
Yeah.
coaching, so there was some excitement about that. And I was actually, I remember it was Troy University's homecoming, and I was down there working, hosting some stuff for them. So I was at back and forth. I was started off at the tailgate watching it. Couldn't take it. Too much going on. Went to my room to finish it up, and I'm like, man, they about to do it. They about to do it. And guys, I remember thinking like we've already got our block for this game. It doesn't happen twice. And lo and behold, man, he blocked it. Crowd goes crazy. I'm in that hotel screaming. And I still, when you look at the pictures, it feels like if Cody didn't get it, Julio looked like he was in position to possibly get it. So thank you to Tennessee's kicker for being such a low, short kicker that year. We appreciate it.
Well, you talk about being in your room screaming.
Yeah.
I was at my house screaming too, but that was for a totally different reason.
Mount Cody took his helmet off. Okay, Terrence
Yeah.
Cody ripped the helmet off after that,
Mhm.
and I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let it go. I'm not
You
gonna...
wanted a penalty?
Well, we're
Was
probably
that
going to
your
get blocked again, but I mean, yeah, I would like
Yeah,
to
but here's the
re-kick that
deal,
thing.
though. Was there any time left on the clock? Because I don't think there was.
No, there was not. There was no time
Yeah,
left.
so you can't call.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if there was 1 or 2 seconds left, you'd have a great case for a 15-yard penalty for sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, though, like, again, the fan in me wants to complain, but then the college football fan, the unbiased fan in me, that's a tough call for a ref to make.
You can't.
In that moment, you can't make that call. That's a very, very minor detail that if you make that call, that just I can only imagine Nick Saban getting a hold of that ref that made the call. Yeah, R.I.P. that guy.
Well, I don't know if he had the cachet then because he hadn't, won a natty at Bama. He had his one at LSU. But just imagine so much going on that field. You just trying to watch the ball, then all the noise, then everybody's running out there. So it was probably just chaotic. But no, I never thought about that. But an extra second, I would have had a great case for a 15-yard penalty, which just would have been
shoulda, coulda, woulda. But I think that too, though, if you look back at a lot of the national championship teams over the years, there was some type of dramatic incident or something that played into that, and that was kind of like the hurdle they got over, and you knew that they were going to go on and win, or they were going to do something historic. But staying on 2009, you guys beat Florida. Obviously, that was a joyous moment. You got past Tim Tebow and that unreal team that Urban Meyer had. I'm not going to ask you if it changes the outcome, because I personally do not think it does.
I feel like I know where this is going.
You know where this is going because it's all over social media.
I'm on the opposite side of this, by the way.
Not gotten hurt. Do you think? I'm not going to ask if it changes. It does not change the outcome. I will stand on that hill. I'll die on that hill. The outcome doesn't change. But what do you think? Do you think it is a Alabama Clemson type finish, like a late drive type of finish, or what do you think the result is changed?
I think it definitely helps their chances, but I also think our defense was built to adjust.
I would agree.
We made some adjustments throughout the year, so would it have helped their chance? Of course, you got a great quarterback. But it is what it is. I don't do what ifs with injuries. What if Jameson and Mechie did get hurt in the championship against Georgia? Injuries are just part of the game. It's unfortunate, but they're part of the game.
Well, again, Keith, and I'm sorry, I got another what if though just popped in my head as you mentioned that. There's also a few videos out there, and I may be wrong in quoting this, so if I am, correct me, but I feel like I've seen somewhere Tim Tebow talk about, as a matter of fact, I saw Greg McElroy talk about how that was his deciding factor. Am I right in thinking Tim Tebow almost went to Alabama?
You're right.
Okay.
I remember
so,
he
What?
There was a lot of hoopla here. I want to say he came to town to play Hoover in a game. He in his high school, and so that the recruitment was full on. We gave him they were chanting his name at a game, home game, and he loved the atmosphere. We kind of thought we had him locked in, but it may have been the coaching change that had a little something to do with that. But yeah, we were riding high, man. Them playing Hoover on national TV. Hoover was just coming off their MTV show 2 days.
Yeah.
So it was, yeah, we thought we had a chance, but now looking back, nah, that man was a Gator. His parents were Gators. He had a legendary college career, so he went to the right place, and we did okay.
Yeah. Oh,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Yeah, I think, Jesse, that story is that he was on his way to the podium and hadn't made his mind up. And he's talked to his dad. Dad said, pretty much told him, just follow your heart. And so he called Saban, told him he's not coming, and then called Meyer and was fixing to say, hey, I'm coming to Florida. And Meyer lost service.
Oh,
and
yeah.
and that's when they walked up to the podium. And he's sitting there before he announces it. He said, Dad, is that a sign? And I don't know, like you said, he made the right call, but
Yeah.
I mean,
think about though how crazy that is. And now, granted, Greg McElroy had a phenomenal career at Alabama, and he won the national title in 2009. So no knock. I don't mean any disrespect to Greg McElroy, but you just think about, because I think too Brandon Sparks is going wherever Tim Tebow went. So, and I may be wrong, and I thought I read that though somewhere. So imagine Brandon Sparks with Rolando McClain and Marcel Darius, and oh my gosh, that is nasty. Which your all's defense was still, it was fine. You were fine.
Yeah, they were still top tier, man. Looking back, man, Tebow was a great competitor. I just, as a passer, give me G Mac and AJ McCarron.
AJ McCarron.
Like I said, but he was in a great system, surrounded by great players, and they won a natty, and he's a legend down there forever.
I love AJ McCarron. I really felt like he got snubbed on a Heisman. That's just my opinion on that. I think, which I can't remember the exact year, but he had a great SEC title game, and I thought, oh, that seals it. He's there, and obviously didn't win, but
12
against Aaron Murray, right?
See, I was thinking 13, but I didn't know if my years were right. But
oh yeah, we don't like to talk about that 13 season right here. 2010.
We're gonna have to. We're gonna have to.
Well, that was where I was fixing to go. Was
you knew it was coming. You knew it was coming.
I'll let you take it, Jesse.
I just want to hear, where were you? Because we talked about the Hail Mary a minute ago. Where you're at. Where were you when that happened, and what were you thinking when they trotted out the little freshman out there to kick the field goal? Because you guys have had, we've had some issues recently with kickers, but man, you all have had some issues with kickers. Let me tell you,
horrendous. Yeah, I was at home watching. One of the worst feelings, but in true Auburn fashion, they still celebrate that, but they conveniently forget that they went on to lose the national championship. There's no season in which we lost the national championship that I'm still talking about the Iron Bowl. When Clemson thumped us a few years back, Iron Bowl doesn't matter. We lost to Georgia. I don't care about the Iron Bowl, but it's just the standards are different. So I know they want to use it as a trolling thing, but the fact remains, man, y'all lost the big game. So, but enjoy, I guess, But other than the ending, man, that was really a good game.
That was a great game.
I think there was 1 and 2 or 1 and 3.
1 and 3, I believe.
Yeah, so
because I think they were coming off the prayer at O'Hare game, maybe the week prior, 2 weeks prior. So
moved them up.
Obviously, set them up for the Natty. But like you said, they didn't win it. But just as a college football fan, what an ending! What an ending to a
Crazy.
game.
It was crazy.
I mean,
yeah.
And Jesse and I've talked about this game before. Chris Davis, who returned the kick, was actually the guy that forced, I believe it was McCarron, out of bounds the play prior. And there was that the review to see if there was a second left or not, and he didn't push him out in time. And then all of a sudden he gets his redemption, returning it.
Right.
And
they reviewed it, gave us the second. And Chris Davis was also the player that got the touchdown called on by Florida State. So I don't know how he's remembered in Auburn lore.
Well, he took down the giant, and I think that was what P is. That's part of it. And I think everybody except for Alabama that year was just like, thank goodness.
Yeah,
everybody but Alabama.
Who was the kicker? Who was the starting kicker that year? Because he missed a couple in that game.
Griffin.
I think
Griffin's the one that trotted out there, right?
Griffin, but
okay, never mind.
I probably have, erased his name from memory on purpose, but I believe it was Griffin.
I mean, again, shoulda, coulda, woulda, but going back, do you wish that it had been that kicker, or would it have changed anything? That's a long kick. What was it, like 56 or 57 yards, something like that?
Yeah, somewhere in there. I would have opted for overtime, but I get why he didn't. I mean, it was just a back and forth game. I don't remember anybody, really being able to consistently stop the other team. So I get why, they had a quarterback who's a Nick Marshall, who's just, moving around, doing things. So, and then we're on the road. So, you feel like you got an opportunity to possibly get it through, then take it.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm with you. I mean, as a coach, you make decisions in the moment, and sometimes they go well, sometimes they don't. You can't really harp on them. You just have to live with the decision that was made and be done with it.
Right.
I don't know. I think that would have been a tough kick for no matter which kicker charted out there. But I'm not going to go back to 2010 because I'm not going to do you dirty that way. But let's talk about a good moment, okay? Where were you, and what were the thoughts on the 2nd and 26 when Tua threw the pass to Devontae for the touchdown to win the game?
Again, I was at home in my apartment off of 280, 119, and one of my friends came over. She's an Auburn fan, just in my ear, just chirping the whole time. She definitely wanted us to win. I remember Jalen and the offense could not get it going that first half. I believe we were down by 10 at halftime. And it just didn't feel good. We put in Tua. I was still a little nervous. I'm like, this is a true freshman, man. I don't know. But he gave them that spark, of course, that they needed. And after, losing 16 yards on first down, I was kind of back in that mode again. Like, well, we gave it a good fight, but this doesn't seem to be our night. When it happened, you could literally, I know I ran out of my door screaming. I'm in an apartment complex, so there's just so many people just out, just screaming. You can hear words that I won't say on your show, but it was just a crazy night, man. So yeah, I remember where I was specifically.
You mentioned Jalen, and I'm a huge fan of Jalen Hurts. Again, as a college football fan, and just I like stories about just good people, and he seems like a very good, humble young man that has a really cool story. In that game, here he had led you guys to a national championship run, had a phenomenal year, and then he gets his starting spot ripped from him. And again, decisions. It was a business move, but I respect the heck out of that guy for not hitting the portal. He comes back, he competes. Obviously, it ends up being Tua's job, but go back to the SEC title game that year when the roles are reversed. The offense is kind of sputtering a little bit. Tua ends up getting hurt. Here comes Jalen. Here comes Superman to save the day. that should be a 30 for 30. What were your thoughts on that
Yeah.
moment?
So maybe a lot of folks outside of Alabama don't know this, but Tua that year was amazing, and so we were up big in a lot of the games during the season, right? So Jalen would come in, you call it garbage time, but he got standing ovations every time he got into the game.
That's
So
awesome.
the fans were still with him. We just understood, Tua was just at that time was the better quarterback, but there was always love for Jalen. And he was doing good in his when he got in. So we knew what Saban knew. He was like, hey, something happened to Tua. Hey, we got a great backup. So we knew.
Absolutely.
And then he got in, he went to work, and in the Georgia Dome where he lost his position, the year prior, it was
Hmm.
poetic justice. He took us to the win, and you know,
You couldn't write a better script.
could
That
not,
couldn't be a better movie ending if you tried.
could not. Right.
Yeah, that was unbelievable. And I think back to your videos, the year prior, go on, Jalen, go, Jalen. How he did eventually end up transferring, and I don't discredit him for transferring. He tried, he fought it out. Um, do you guys claim? Do you claim him? Do you claim Jalen Hurts?
Absolutely. He's ours.
Okay, all
He's
right,
one of us, man. He claims us. We claim him.
all
I
right.
get why he shows love to Oklahoma, and he
Oh
should.
yeah,
But I also made a video. It's still on YouTube where I explain Nick Saban kind of encouraged him to go to Oklahoma. Nick Saban was helping him like, hey, uh, so these folks want you. I know you think about transferring. Just go where you're surrounded by good players and somebody that you can grow from. So they both kind of chose Oklahoma. So it wasn't like a nasty split. Nobody wants to get benched. Nobody wants to lose their job. But as I said on that YouTube video, we just got to be honest. Jalen Hurts then wasn't the Jalen Hurts now. He needed to grow in some
yes,
areas. I, and that's just what it was. He ran into a good situation in Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
I believe, what was finalist for the Heisman.
Mm-hmm.
Went on to win a Super Bowl. So man,
Mm-hmm.
we go on Jalen around here. We love some Jalen. He can do no wrong
but
to me.
yeah,
And we share the same birthday, FY.
yeah. He's one of the few players that have given Tennessee so many fits, but I actually respect the heck out of, and
Mm-hmm.
love to see him, have success. I'm not a Philly fan either, but I like watching the Eagles because of Jalen. Um, but that's awesome.
Yeah, man, my guy.
I think we could sit here all day long. But Keith, do you have any other questions before we get to the 5 and 5?
Where were you in 2022? And
Oh
sorry,
gosh,
22?
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
The third Saturday in October.
Was that when y'all broke the
It's-
record?
It's when we broke the record.
Yeah, not broke the record, broke the streak. I'm sorry.
You call
I
it
was
what you
watching
want.
I was watching that game downstairs in my den. I was wondering if it was going to be another Rocky Block situation. Tennessee beats us, phone is blowing up. And I was like, you know what? 18 years, man, it had to end at some time. And I'll be honest, even as much as I hated losing, I feel like Alabama and Tennessee, college football and the SEC is better when Alabama and Tennessee is competitive.
I agree with
100%.
So
that.
since those past 4 years has been competitive, and I still put Tennessee above Auburn on the rivalry chart. Auburn's like a bad roommate situation, but Tennessee, that's like we don't like y'all, y'all don't like us. We don't
Mm-hmm.
like y'all color, we don't like y'all color. It's
I mean,
so
that's kind of how I see Vandy is. Vandy's our in-state guy, and it's little brother. That's who they are. But it's not the guy across the street that you don't like.
Yeah.
It's you guys are our bad guy across the street. Vandy's just little brother.
Little brother's trying to grow up
Yeah.
though. Have get
Little
scared
bro-
down there in
little-
Nashville, but
I did a reel recently. I didn't realize Vandy has won as many times over
saw
the
that
past
video.
20 years
Yeah,
that they have. Now it's not like 50, 60%, but it's like, wait, they've gotten
Mm-hmm.
seven,
More
eight
than you
wins,
think.
something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
more
when
than
you
you
That's
think of
think.
crazy.
Vandy, you don't think of, you think of law degrees and med school, you don't think of, them actually winning football games. And again, that's so disrespectful, but I didn't mean it
Yeah,
that way. But that's what you think of. You think of
yeah,
baseball and
yeah,
basketball, you don't think of football. But they have done more than we realize.
yeah.
I do
They're
have one more
consistent.
question for you.
Sure.
Again, we've taken a lot of your time, but I appreciate you for
Oh, you're fine.
being here. One more question before our 5 and 5. We mentioned some rivalry games and the importance of rivalry games in college football. College football is
Hmm.
changing, and for a lot of us traditionalists, it's not changing in a great way, but we got to accept it because it's where it's going. Um, what do you think the future of college football is going to be like with the conference realignment? Some of our rivalry
Hmm.
games are getting lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
Where do you think we're headed, and is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Um, what are your thoughts?
I think college football will always figure itself out. And I think it is because it has such rabid fans.
Mm-hmm.
When we speak, when we speak collectively, whether it's with our wallets or our attendance or our comments, it moves the needle. So I think this may be the season where we really take a look at the playoff structure, the conference structure, and all of these things, and the fans start really speaking up. But I think about times like when championship games came along, people like, oh, this is the end. It was not the end. I remember when
Mm-hmm.
spread offenses came. Oh, this it's over. Injured? No, it's not the end. So we college football has adapted. They'll figure this NIL thing and all of these things out, and it'll be a few pages in the history book. But we love the sport too much. It's too engraved into the persona of the region for us to not weigh in. But those things to me are not the problem. Ticket prices, hotel
Mhm,
prices, parking,
mhm.
those are the things I would like for us to speak up about because I'm
Yeah,
not just looking at it as, me as one person attending a game. What about families of 4 and 5
mhm.
that want to attend these games and that want to travel? Like you're pricing these people out, yeah, the games are packed, but people are not supposed to be going into debt behind
Mm-hmm.
supporting their favorite team. So
Yeah,
those are the things that I'm more concerned about.
yeah, and that's a good point. Actually, I am a
Mhm.
family of 5. I have
Yeah.
three children who I would love to take to a game in Neyland, greatest place
Hmm.
to ever watch a college football game. I'm just kidding. But kind of. But I would love to take them to a game, but it's
Hmm.
it's it's ridiculous. 2 tickets,
Yeah.
let alone 5, is
Right.
outrageous.
Right.
And which I think that a lot of that comes because of NIL right now. Every program they're trying to acquire NIL money, to get the cream of the crop roster. And again, going back to Tennessee, we bought in a whole bunch of portal commitments that we had to pay, and every program now they're
Yeah.
trying to find ways and price gouging and parking and things like that. And I think a lot of programs are what do they call it, the entertainment districts that they're creating now,
Right. Right.
all ways to fund
Yeah.
that and bring in more NIL to the program.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
There needs to be
Yeah.
a
I,
balance
and
somehow.
Yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
No, I'm sorry.
I'd make the argument that this started long
Mm-hmm.
before NIL. I think
Mm-hmm.
it came down to them trying to boost up these facilities to
Mm-hmm.
compete. Every
Yeah,
stadium in the conference got bigger,
yeah.
but if you notice, the basketball arenas are getting smaller, and with that smaller, basketball is doing better. But now those ticket prices are astronomical
Hmm.
because there's not as many tickets to go around. So I just think they were trying to, um, have a lot of extra money to upgrade their facilities. And then y'all been probably seeing these graphics going around how football programs are funding the other sports and the other
Yes.
sports are losing
Yeah,
money. So I get it. Just, don't put it on us, the consumer, man,
I
because
agree.
I got no problem staying at home, but don't do that to these families who just want to support. I don't think it's fair at all.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree. I just hope that it doesn't go in the direction of, now you got streaming services and things. We've already got the ESPN Plus. Hopefully we don't add more to, more pay per view basically. But no, I agree with you. I totally agree. Keith, do you have anything else to?
Nope, that's all off my list.
Last thing is our 5 and 5. We Keith and I started this when we originally started this podcast, years ago. We do a top 5 list in a 5-minute segment, and it doesn't have to be in any particular order. And your theme, we'd like to put people on the spot. So your theme is your 5 greatest moments as a Bama football fan.
5 greatest moments as a Bama football fan. Oh man, these are gonna be some throwbacks here. Number 5, I'll say, I believe 1989 block versus Penn State to beat them at the last second. That was one. Number 4, I'd probably say Nick Saban being hired. Yeah,
Figured that'd be on the list.
yeah. Number 3, let's just say my first game, going to my first game as a Bama fan. Number 2, would be Alabama beating Miami for the national championship in the Sugar Bowl 1992. First championship of my lifetime.
Yeah.
Love that team.
That's a big one.
Yeah, David Palmer was graduated from the high school that I eventually went to a few years later, so that was great. And then number 1, just Bama fans embracing these videos that I do. That's been number 1, man. The love has been real.
Awesome.
We've been able to travel everywhere. They come to comedy shows. We sign autographs outside of the game. So that's just, that's been a blast, man, for sure.
That's a good
list.
Awesome.
That's really absolutely. I didn't expect number 1. Hey, let me ask your first game. Who was it against?
Believe it or not, man, Louisiana Monroe. We lost. It was the big upset.
Oh wow!
07.
That was 07, yeah.
that was historic.
Now, I've been to some A-Day games and things, but that was like my first game that I remember. Yeah.
The first game I ever attended at UT, we played Arkansas in, may have been the same year, maybe in 07. When they had Darren McFadden, Felix Jones, and we beat them in Neyland. Yeah, it was 06 or 07.
Nasty combo.
I think that was
somewhere up in there.
I think it was 07,
in that era.
maybe.
It was
right. But that was my first ball walk, and you always remember those iconic things. We had Gerard Mayo, who I got to see for the first time, and it was.
My first game going to Neyland was a Kentucky game when they had remember the hefty lefty Jared Lorenzen?
Jared Lorenzen.
Man, R.I.P. Jared Lorenzen.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Don't forget the big man.
That guy he was the truth. He was a tough dude. But brother, we appreciate you again for coming on. Sorry for taking so much of your time, but this has been great. We could talk all day. Like, these stories are awesome.
So much. Yeah, thank y'all so much for the invite, man. Nothing but blessings to you guys on the podcast. Keep growing it, stick with it. Man, good things will happen if you stay consistent, for sure.
Absolutely.
But y'all got a good thing going.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
When Roll Tide.
Of course, you got to get the Roll Tide in there, right?
Yeah, man. Appreciate y'all.